Emily Johnson's life as a college student was a blur of exhaustion and routine. Every morning, she woke up, attended her classes, and spent hours studying in the library. The bustling campus, full of vibrant students, felt like a world she couldn't quite touch. Emily was a hard worker, yet despite her best efforts, she often felt invisible in a sea of faces that didn't look like hers. Her dedication was unquestionable, but so was the weight of her loneliness. She tried to fit in, but the constant feeling of being an outsider never left her. Each day felt like a new attempt to convince herself she belonged, but nothing seemed to change. Her peers rarely noticed her, and when they did, it was often with a glance that made her feel less than. She couldn't shake the feeling that she would always remain on the fringes, no matter how much effort she put in. It was a life of quiet perseverance, until one moment would change everything. That moment arrived unexpectedly. As Emily walked through the crowded campus, she was unaware that today, her path would intersect with something life-altering. It was a moment she would later look back on, not just as a turning point for her, but as a catalyst for something bigger. Little did she know her journey of recognition was about to begin. Emily came from a small town where everyone knew everyone, and education was seen as the gateway to a better life. Her parents, who worked hard to support her, always stressed the importance of hard work and determination. Those values led Emily to win a full scholarship to a prestigious university, a dream come true and a heavy responsibility. As one of the few Black students in the predominantly white university, Emily faced an uphill battle every day. She was constantly reminded of her difference, sometimes in overt ways, like being passed over for group projects, and sometimes in subtle ways, like people questioning whether she truly deserved to be there. Though she worked tirelessly, excelling in her studies, these small slights took a toll on her mental health. She started questioning her place in this world, wondering if she was accepted or tolerated. But Emily was no quitter. Every setback, every dismissive comment only fueled her determination. She buried her doubts deep inside and threw herself into her academic work. Yet, despite her accomplishments, she often found herself battling loneliness and self-doubt, wishing for a sense of belonging that seemed out of reach. The university campus was energetic. Students chatted between classes, rushed to meetings, and hung out in the cafes. The trees lining the walkways began to shed their golden leaves, signaling the change in seasons. Yet, to Emily, this vibrant environment felt distant and disconnected. She walked through it daily, but it always felt like she was a spectator in a world that wasn't hers. The library was her sanctuary, where she felt at peace, surrounded by knowledge. Here, she didn't have to worry about feeling out of place. Her focus was on her studies, and the books she read allowed her to escape into a world where success wasn't defined by skin color or background. It was simply about knowledge and hard work. On this particular day, Emily entered the library with the usual heaviness in her chest. Her routine had become second nature, and the monotony of the day seemed to reflect her internal struggles. She sat at her usual spot by the window, her gaze drifting from the pages of her textbooks to the world outside. Little did she know, something was about to disrupt the predictability of her life, a moment that would ultimately shape her future in ways she never imagined. As Emily was leaving the library that afternoon, she overheard a conversation between a group of students and one of her professors. They argued about the university's diversity policies, with some students questioning the need for such programs. One of them, pointing at Emily, said, "What's the point of these diversity initiatives? People like her shouldn't even be here." The words hit Emily like a wave. For a brief moment, she froze, unsure how to react. Her heart pounded as she recalled all the times she'd felt similar dismissals. But just as she was about to turn away, The professor, known for his strong stance on inclusion, stepped in. "People like her," he said, turning to Emily, "are exactly why these initiatives exist. Perhaps you should listen to her story and learn from her strength." The professor addressed Emily directly. "Would you be willing to share your experience at the next diversity panel? I believe your journey could inspire many others." Emily was taken aback. She hadn't expected to be recognized, especially not in this way. She hesitated momentarily, unsure whether she could truly step into the spotlight. But something inside her shifted. Perhaps this was the opportunity she had been waiting for, the chance to be seen for who she was. Over the following days, Emily's emotions were whirlwind. At first, the idea of sharing her story with others felt daunting. She wasn't used to being the center of attention, especially in a place where she often felt invisible. But as she began preparing for the panel, she realized that this was a rare opportunity, a chance to tell her truth and, hopefully, make a difference. When the panel's day arrived, Emily stood in front of the audience, her nerves on edge. But as soon as she began speaking, something clicked. Her voice, though initially shaky, grew stronger with every word. She shared her struggles with racism, her feelings of isolation, and the resilience that kept her going despite the challenges. As she spoke, she could feel the audience's attention shift. There was a collective silence in the room as people absorbed her words. Her story, once hidden deep within her, was now out in the open, and it was having an impact. Afterward, several students and faculty members expressed their admiration for her courage and shared how her words had opened their eyes to the reality of exclusion. This wasn't just a moment for Emily, it was a beginning. Her story had touched others, sparking a ripple effect that would continue long after the panel had ended. Emily's speech was recorded and shared on social media, where it quickly went viral. The response was overwhelming. People from all walks of life and different parts of the world reached out to express their support. Many shared their stories of struggle and resilience, inspired by Emily's bravery in speaking out. As the video gained traction, Emily's life began to change in unexpected ways. She was approached by strangers, congratulated by faculty, and offered opportunities to speak at other events. She was no longer the quiet student in the back of the class. She had become a symbol of strength, resilience, and the power of sharing one's truth. The university also took notice. The administration began implementing new diversity programs, and conversations about inclusion gained momentum across the campus. Emily's story sparked a broader dialogue, and soon it became clear that her experience was not just her own. It was part of a more significant movement toward a more inclusive and supportive community. Emily's viral moment shifted the conversation, and she realized that her journey to recognition had only begun. Months later, as Emily stood on stage to accept her graduation diploma, she couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. The shy, uncertain student who once doubted her place in the university was now a confident young woman, proud of her impact. In her graduation speech, Emily shared a message with her classmates. "We all have the power to make a difference, no matter how small our actions may seem. It's in how we treat each other, in how we lift others, that we create lasting change. I encourage you to look beyond differences and find ways to build a more inclusive world." Her words resonated deeply with the audience, and Emily's story became a testament to the power of one individual's voice. She realized that the journey to recognition isn't just about fame or acknowledgement. It's about creating a ripple effect that changes lives. She called on everyone to reflect on their capacity for kindness and how they could contribute to a better, more inclusive world. Her journey had taught her that recognition begins with understanding, and that each of us has the power to make a difference.